Ohayo gozaimasu. This is take two. Fun thing before I get into the lecture. Make sure that if you do an OBS scene switch, that on the scene that you're switching to, you also have your audio capture on there. And you don't talk for 30 minutes and you won't record audio. So this is, I guess, a retake of actually a lecture. So today's lesson is in lecture format. Unfortunately, there will not be any student participation in today's lesson because, life happens. But this is going to be a short video, about 30 minutes. Hopefully I can make it shorter now even, but it was just slightly over 30 minutes before. So it's a short lecture. I feel okay giving it this format just for this week because there's not too much difficult new grammar points that I'm introducing. But of course, I prefer live format. So let's jump right into. So, lesson 22, we are covering still chapter 9, Kabuki. So we will have, as always, a short test. Go over last week's homework, actually the week before, because last week unfortunately also did not happen. So that's another reason why I felt like, yeah, I don't really want to, delay this one more week. So that's why I opted for this format, and hope you find the time and watch this episode, this lecture soon. Just gonna cover dialogue 1 again of this chapter, and like I said, the past. We're just using the past in short forms in quoted speech. と思います and と言っていました we have actually used in the past, but using the non-past tense short form. Kanji, also very scarce in kanji this lesson as well, so not too much to cover. Okay, how do we say today is the 16th of May? A reminder, if you don't know that, make sure to go over page 127, right? But this is actually a regular reading. So, 今日は5月16日です。That is today's date. So, this is this week's test. Allocate just 1 minute to it. Again, if you haven't done these before, just what's underlined. So this is kind of JLPT style. What's underlined, find the correct answer, right? The fourth one, you see, okay, there's nothing in there, so put in the correct particle. Yeah, just take 1 minute for this. Yeah, pause it now, and when you're done after the minute, resume. Okay, so I hope this went well. Let's just go over the answers really briefly. This is, of course, Oto-san wa shinsetsu desu would be B. If we wouldn't have O and san here, then this would be Chichi, right? We could say Chichi wa shinsetsu desu, but of course the reading here then is Oto-san, so B is the correct answer. And also it is not written to O, but to U in hiragana. For 2番, this is of course last time and last lecture we know, okay, this is gozen. We actually learned gogo before, but this is gozen, so again B, gozen goji wa do. Kitaguchi ni dete kudasai. Kitaguchi is the north exit, right, or entrance, so C is correct. And then finally 4番, ima doko ni sunde imasu ka? So ni is correct. So we have B, B, C, C. Homework, page 87 in the workbook. So we have yomu, yonda, again, the past affirmative. We can just conjugate from the te form. That's one way, right? And then just replace te with a de and a da, de with the da, right? So we have yomu, te form of yomu is yonde, so past affirmative is yonda. And then yomanakatta, right? So the arrow yomu becomes yoma, and then attach nakata for godan doshi. And then, of course, we have our stem, yomimasu. Asobu, asonda, asobanakatta, asobimasu. Oberu is a ichidan doshi, so it conjugates slightly different, a lot easier, right? We just attach da. So oboeta, oboe, and then attach nakatta. And then, of course, must form oboemasu, right? Iku is a little bit different because we know the te form is actually ite, so I small to te. Regularly, it would actually be conjugated ite, right? But we know this is kind of an exception, so that's why it's ite, and then the past affirmative from te to ta is just ita as well. Now, of course, ikanakatta, ikimasu. Well, moratta. The past negative is interesting because it's the becomes so the morao in the past negative we use wa, right? Same with the non-past negative, right? It would be morawa nai. But here we have, of course, the past, so we instead of morawa nai, we have morawa na katta. And moraemas. These few next ones are not that interesting, all regular. Su, irregular verb, right? So we have shita, shinakatta, shimasu, ku, kita, konakatta, kimasu. And of course, we could write the key here, the ku there, and the key here all with the kanji here. But yeah, I opted for the hiragana here just to drive your attention to, okay, this is irregular. Nouns, wakai, wakakatta, wakakunakatta, kakoi, kakoi katta. There's actually two forms. So because it's kakoi, right? In Genki, you actually see also kako yokatta, right? Would be correct as well. Kirei na, kirei datta, kirei janakatta, nichiyoubi, nichiyou datta, nichiyoubi janakatta. So those are fairly easy. All right, next we have page 88. 昨日友達に会った。会わなかった。2番、昨日運転した。運転しなかった。3番、先週試験があった。Last week, did we have a test? No, because unfortunately, there was no lesson. So, なかった。No class, no test. That might change in the future. 先週の週末、大学に来た。来なかった。先週の週末、楽しかった。Was last week's weekend fun? No, it wasn't, because there was no class or no students were there. Right, so next week you can say, 楽しくなかった。子供の時、髪が長かった。長くなかった。I think I actually had fairly long hair as a child, if I remember correctly. 子供の時、勉強が嫌いだった。嫌いじゃなかった。Nice. This is a reminder. Please, 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 please put your homework for page 88 in the workbook, Roman numeral 2, in the Discord channel, in the homework channel. If you don't want to make it public, just send me a private message. That's fine too. So I can go over that with you. Okay, let's read dialogue 1 again. That's just Takeshi and Mei-san. So both of them are talking about kabuki. Starts with Takeshi-san. Mei-san ga kabuki ga suki desu ka? To which Mei-san answers, Kabuki desu ka? Amari shirimasen. Demo, Obatu-san wa omoshirokata to itte imashita. Right, so this is one of the grammar points that we are going to talk about today. Then Takeshi-san answers, Kabuki no chiketto o 2枚もらったから見に行きませんか? To which Mei-san answers, hey, ぜひ、いつですか? And then finally, Takashi answers with, 来週の木曜日です。12時から4時までです。Right? So, short dialogue. So, while not explicitly a part of this dialogue, we covered the non-past tense short form with と思います, and the past tense short form is very, very similar, right? So we have let me back it. So instead of 去年の冬はあまり寒くなかったと思います、we can say something like 今年の冬はあまり寒くないと思います which means as for this year's winter, the one talking about in the future, あんまり寒くないと思います。I don't think it will be cold. Or I think it will not be very cold, right? But for last year's winter, right, which already happened late in the past, I can say, 去年の冬はあまり寒くなかったと思います which of course just means I think last winter was not very cold. So there's an exercise on page 221ページ, page 221, Roman numeral 3, yes, 3. Just do A, so just this page. So Genki だったと思います. It says, make a guess about what the following people were like when they were in high school, right? 高校の時. So we have Mei-san and Yamashita sensei. So for the example, just says Genki deshita ka? Right? So the question to form then is, Mei-san wa koukou no toki genki deshita ka? Was Mary a chipper? Was she chipper? Energetic? I don't know, chipper. I've never used chipper. But I think that's a adjective that, you could describe maybe Genki with. So Mary-san wa koukou no toki genki deshita ka? Was Mary energetic when she was in high school? And since you're just making guesses here, you can either answer in the affirmative or in the negative. So the affirmative would be, はい、元気だったと思います. This is a non-adjective, right? It's genki na. And so we put it in the past tense, short form. So non-adjectives and nouns, right? We use datta for the past tense affirmative. So, はい、元気だったと思います. Or in the negative, you can say, いえ、元気じゃなかったと思います. Right? So there are, it's a good pair exercise, so do that with your partner if you have one. And yeah, ask these 5 questions about Mary-san. And then also we have 5 questions for Yamashita sensei afterwards. And that's essentially it for this grammar point. So very, very straightforward. Okay, so the next one, right? We have Obato-san wa omoshirokata to itte imashita. Right? So this is essentially taken from the dialogue. So according to Robert, we had actually May-san heard Robert saying that it was fun, referring to, or interesting, referring to kabuki. So Roberto-san wa omoshirokata to itte imashita. Right? Robert said it was interesting. And again, this itte imashita also indicates that you were present, you witnessed him saying that, right? So again, this is very close to the non-past tense short form with tuitemashita. And yeah, if you want to, I think the grammar point here, let me actually, if I remember correctly, let me just take a quick look. Yeah, it doesn't really say anything. But yeah, you can take a look at page 215. It goes into page 216. Point number 4, past and short forms in quoted speech, to itemashita, to yeah, I guess get some nuances out of this. But for this also, there's an exercise, page 222 and page 223. So let's open this up. Yasumin-san wa誰ですか? お父さんな. So Yasumin-san wa 病気だったと言っていました. Okay, so page 222, Roman numeral 4, A. Let's start with that. Report what the following people said using to言っていました. So for our example, right, it actually starts with Otosan. We have his illustration there, and then we have a speech bubble, and the example sentence, or yeah, example statement says wakai toki, so when he was young, Michael Jackson ga suki deshita. Right? So when he was young, he liked Michael Jackson. Right? So the example sentence that you are, or the sentence that you are supposed to make out of this statement, right? You report what the people said. So you start with the person who said that, Otou-san wa, and then just report what he said, right? So Otou-san wa wakai toki Michael Jackson ga suki datta to itte imashita. Right? So this is the exercise. There are 3 more sentences to be made with Otou-san, and then we have a couple more with Takeshi-san and the person. And then after this, do exercise B as a pair work. On the next page, Nihyaku ni 13 peiji. Ask your partner the following questions, take notes, and report to the class later using to ite imashita. Right? So ask the question, 先週何をしましたか? どうでしたか? Right? The other person answers. And then you, as the person who originally asked the question, are to report that back using the past and short form with to ite imashita as well. Okay, and those are all the grammar points. For the kanji, there are just 3 kanji that I want you to take a look at. Again, those are all chapter 10 kanji, so for the next chapter. Some of them are N4 level, I believe, but good to know anyway. So the first one, and all of the, I guess, compound kanji or use cases of, besides, of course, just the way how to write the kanji themselves, also actually all on page 340. So that's good. So yeah, so this kanji, correct, justice, righteous, right? Kunyumi reading is tada, so we can use tadashi to mean right or correct. Genki just lists it as right, but it doesn't have anything to do with migi, so with the direction, but it's correct. Then the other one that I want you to know is Oshogatsu. So this kanji takes the Onyumi reading sho in Oshogatsu. So we have Oshogatsu, again, also in the book, right? Which means New Year. There's also another one that I commonly use is Seikai. So correct answer, right? Yes, you got it. Seikai, correct answer. But you don't have to know the kai yet, so you don't need to know how to write it yet. Yeah, so learn tadashi and oshogatsu and write this kanji a couple of times. The next one, toshi. Actually, all of the compound kanji that are listed for this one on page 340, I would like for you to learn. So just by itself, toshi, right? And the onyumi reading is nen, right? So for example, ainen, meaning next year. The rai part comes from the kanji for kuru, for come, actually, but rainen meaning next year, the year that's yet to come. And then I mentioned kotoshi before. So again, this then be toshi, but the ku part is actually from the ima. So for now, meaning this year. So kotoshi. And then, of course, we can also say things like ichi-nensei, ni-nensei, san-nensei, yon-nensei, etc. Right? So the example that's given here, san-nensei in the book. San, of course, the 3 strokes, just meaning 3 years. And then nen, and then the sei, as in gakusei, for example, to mean san-nensei, 3rd year student. And then finally, uru. So kunyumi reading is u. Onyumi reading is by, as in baiten. But right now, all you need to really care about is recognizing this kanji and using it with the kunyomi reading. So u meaning to sell, and that is all there is. So for the homework workbook, page 89 is just using past tense short form plus to omoimasu. And then page 90 is past tense short form in combination with to言っていました. And that is all there is. So yeah, very short lecture, I think. I hope. Yeah, there's not too much introduced. Just make sure that you are doing the exercises in the book, right? Go over them. And if you have time, because this is a short lecture, make sure to review a lot of the previous material, especially vocabulary that we don't use quite often. Go over those again as well. And yep. And we will resume with the remainder of this chapter next week. So, ciao mata!